Good morning, everybody. My name is John Elefterakis. I'm the family attorney from Elefterakis and Panek. We have Mr. Gao here, father of Roger Gao. I'm just going to open by giving some of the brief facts as we know them. Last Monday, January 7th, third grader Roger Gao, 8 years old, at PS 250, was injured in gym class. He sustained a traumatic right-sided skull fracture and was taken by ambulance to Maimonides Hospital, where he underwent emergency brain surgery. Doctors at Maimonides Medical Center, the neurosurgery team, did a great job. He did have an extended stay in the hospital, and now the family is looking for answers. So at this point, that really is the basic facts as we know them. This really is a call for more information, more investigation. So I'm going to turn it over to the Borough President, Mr. Adams, President Adams, who we're honored to have helping the family, and then we'll speak again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And as you know, we have been conducting a series of reviews of the safety environment of our students, particularly around the recreational period. And when this case was brought to my attention by the attorney and the families, I was outraged to learn that a child entered into the care of the Department of Education and will receive such an injury of this magnitude. This is not a simple injury when you look at it. This is not the typical injury you would see when a child stumbles and falls. To receive a fracture of his skull and not clear communications or answers to the family, particularly when English is a second language, we need to take a particular amount of care on how we communicate what happens. The Department of Education must give us some very clear, specific answers. We want a review of the recreational space, the gym space, whatever space the school is using while children are having some form of recreational period. And we want an independent investigation and review on what happened here. It should not take days to determine or to give a family information on what happened to their child, and what are we doing to prevent this from happening to any other child that's in the care of the Department of Education. We are not only concerned, we're outraged that it is taking this long for proper communication to this father and to this family. When you turn over your child to the Department of Education, you are expecting that they receive the necessary oversight, protection, and ensure that they come home in a safe environment. Schools are the last place that we believe our children should receive such a substantial injury of this magnitude. I have fallen in gym before. Other students have fallen in gym before, have hurt themselves on the playground or in the yard or in a recreational facility. But to have a skull fracture of this magnitude, this was not a trip and fall. It had to be something else that was involved, and we need an answer to that question. And I want to thank the councils for actually spending their necessary time with this family and helping them get the answers that they need.
Thank you, Mr. President. We, on behalf of the family, are grateful for the Borough President and the time and attention, obviously, on a Sunday he's given to this matter. The family is very, very appreciative. You know, we also appreciate his call for the Department of Education to investigate. Law firm, we will be doing our own investigation. Again, as the Borough President stated, the severity of the injury is alarming. It speaks to something being wrong with the supervision in that gym class. A lot of questions that need to be answered, and it is unacceptable that a week after Mr. Gao's 8-year-old son sustained this traumatic skull fracture where the right side of his head was indented and obviously required this surgery, that he still does not have specific answers. So aside from obviously the Borough President calling for this investigation, we're here today to call on parents of any other child that was in that class that may have some information to reach out to Mr. Gao or to the law firm so that we could speak to the students, because getting to the bottom of this is our top priority for justice for Roger and the family, and to make sure that this type of stuff does not happen again. When a parent drops their child off at school, the child should be returned in the same condition they were dropped off. That's not a simple, that's not a outrageous demand or request. So on behalf of the family, we thank everybody for coming. We're looking for answers, and you know, we will get them one way or another, and we appreciate the borough president, who really cares about his constituents, to be here on a Sunday morning to help the Gao family. So I just want to introduce real quick Mr. Gao, so he could thank everybody through his translator, Henry, who is a member of the Independent Drivers Guild, which Mr. Gao is a member of, and they've been helping him a great deal navigate this tough time. So I'll let Henry, who's a translator for Mr. Gao, just say thank you to the people.
Thank you for everyone coming.
Okay. And you can.
Yes, he's thank you for all the media people, like to being here and to show your care for his trial.
How do you feel?
I feel very bad. When
You can speak.
OK，
你说中文。
OK， 就是说我看到我儿子现在变成这样子，我真的很伤心。我的家庭整天都围绕着这个孩子。现在一看到他。
So it's a tremendous.
Come to the microphone.
Yes. So it's a tremendous difficult time for the family, and family is deeply upset with what happened. And every day when he see his kids with such a injury condition, he feel very concerned.
Thank you.
So may I ask him one
Sure.
question? Sure. Why is Roger unable to tell him what happened to him? It just seems right it would start there. What happened to you?
I mean, first of all, it was a very traumatic experience for him. A lot of times when people sustain these types of brain injuries, there is memory loss. So that seems to be the case for Roger. The doctors have assured that this may or may not come back. But as you can see from the picture, he had a real traumatic brain injury, subdural hematoma. So he can't get it from the young 8-year-old boy. There should be, I mean, that's why we have teachers. At this point, we haven't been able to get information from him, specifics. And I don't think it's too much to get those specifics from the supervisor who was running that gym class. A lot of questions. Where was the gym class taking place? In other situations that we've seen, they're holding gym classes in classrooms where there are desks or chairs for kids to fall on. Many times the ratio of supervisors, gym teachers to students is off. Many times they're having different grades participate in gym at the same time. So you have a 10, 11-year-old with a 7 and 8-year-old. Obviously different physical traits. The older kids being stronger and knocking into the younger kids. So there are a lot of different problems, and many times the supervisors are not even gym teachers. So the level of supervision and instruction is not proper for these kids that are in our school system. And at this point, we do not know what the cause of this was. We don't know specifics, but we're looking for them.
How was Mr. Gao communicated with by the school? Did someone call, and then tell us about the follow-ups? Meaning, did he go to the school after the fact and demand a face-to-face with
So Mr. Gao, immediately after the incident, when he was called, he went to the school where him and his wife were immediately taken by ambulance. The ambulance was waiting, and they were brought to Maimonides Medical Center. From that point to now, they've been pretty much, now young Roger is home, stable, thankfully, but his attention has been to be around his son's bedside 24 hours a day, 7 days a week since. Both him and his wife were splitting the duties, and they never left his side. They have received a phone call or two from some of the teachers that were there, and they've conveyed to them, we need answers. And they just have not been provided to date. He has not been able to go to the school because his son is and was committed to a hospital after major brain surgery. So to expect him to leave his son and go to a school, but that doesn't mean that a phone call explaining what happened isn't necessary. Of course it is. He shouldn't have to wait a week and a half to hear. And if there was proper supervision, then these questions should be very simple to answer. This is what happened. This is what was going on. This is who was around. Nothing. Nothing at this point.
Has the school said anything at all to you in terms of an explanation?
No, there has been no explanation, and which is why we're very grateful for the borough president to really get involved and and really call for this investigation, because obviously when he speaks, things happen, and we're very grateful for that.
You hope that, you are calling on other people to come forward. And
Yes.
see the story you might get.
That is one of the reasons why we're very grateful for the Borough President to put this together, because we are speaking directly, and I am, on behalf of the law firm, I'm speaking directly to the parents of other children in this class who may have some information about what happened that day. 8 and 9-year-olds, they should be able to tell their parents exactly what that environment was like. And right now, we don't have access to those kids. We would like to be involved in speaking to them and hearing what they believe took place, or, well, what actually took place, and not have to get it secondhand from the school, who obviously may not want to give all the information.
Has the Board of Ed said anything aside from the school?
We have not heard anything.
So tell me about his medical condition. You're saying it's a fractured skull. Was there anything else, a concussion? Was there, or there complications that left him in the hospital longer?
He had a fracture that with a subdural hematoma where they had to do surgery. Obviously, you can see the picture with the sutures in the skull. In terms of a traumatic brain injury, many times those do come with the type of trauma that Roger sustained. It's a little early to, I'm sure, for the doctors to make that determination what the extent of any possible traumatic brain injury there is in young Roger. He is in good spirits, so we're very grateful for that. But again, an 8-year-old boy, only time will tell. He will be requiring medical follow-up, treatment, and monitoring well into the future.
What about insurance, and what about like the payment for all his medicals? It obviously happened in the school. Has that already been arranged through the?
Nothing has been arranged with regard to medical bills. That most certainly will be part of any case we bring if it is found that something was done negligently. If the supervision was, in our opinion, deemed to be negligent, and we do file some type of suit as a result of this, then yes, medical bills will be a part. But at this point, it's too early to tell. All we're looking for right now are answers. That's the bottom line. Give us some information. Let's hear from the kids. Let's hear from the DOE. Let's get to the bottom of this, and then we'll figure it out. At a minimum, the parents and the family, that's what they deserve.
What do you personally find? I don't know if you're a parent or anybody.
I have 4 kids.
What is the most shocking thing? Is it the lack of information as it drags on? I mean,
It's definitely there are 2 things. The lack of information, explanation is shocking. You wonder if because English is a second language here, that has something to do with it. So the lack of information is shocking, and along with that, the severity of the injury is shocking. I mean, like the Borough President said, kids fall in gym class. Maybe even if they fracture an ankle or a hand. I don't know that I've ever heard of a boy in gym class sustaining this type of fracture. The severity of it. It just it's.
I mean, at some point, as you move forward with this case, you get experts. If you don't get the answers, you have the experts to kind of look at the injury and say it's consistent with something falling from a high spot right under his head, or God knows what.
Listen, there's always ways through school safety experts, people who analyze this, attempt to recreate this, that we can try to figure out what exactly happened, especially if we're being stonewalled and we're not getting answers. So that's definitely an option. But at this point, we don't need to go there. We're hoping that with the Borough President's help, the Department of Education, conducts their investigation, we conduct ours, and we get these answers without having to go into any of that.
And just to add, it's very important that when we did an overview and analysis of the recreational spaces for young people, it was alarming to see how many sharp edges, how many makeshift gym and recreational spaces. The environment was not conducive for young people to play. There were radiators, covers, sharp wall edges, all of the things that can cause injuries of this nature. And it has only been a few weeks ago that we did this analysis with all of our schools, and they looked at the spaces that they are using for recreation. We had the lack of teachers who were physical ed instructors. You had unpadded surfaces. You had dangerous environments. These environments that our children are in now unsuspected and unbeknownst to many of the parents, they are extremely dangerous. No parent sends their child to school to damage their brain. They go to school to enhance their brain. To have a skull fracture, I have never heard that before, something of this magnitude. A simple trip and fall is not going to cause your skull to fracture for the most part. And that's the question that needs to be answered. We can't continue to allow this family and other students in that environment. There needs to be a complete analysis. The DOE needs to go to the school and analyze the space that these children are using as a recreational space and see if it's a dangerous condition so we don't have children like this going through this. This is horrific for the family to find out that, not that your child injured himself, that is hard enough, but to find out that he needs surgery because of an injury he sustained on Department of Education property is alarming, and alarming to any parent. As a parent, I am alarmed, and I'm sure any other parent will be. Thank you very much.
May we ask Roger's staff one more thing? Is that okay?
You know what? At this point, at this point, I think we're going to shut it down because he was a little uncomfortable as well.
Did Roger like school, and is there a fear now that this will, it'd be tough to have him go back to the school, this traumatic experience?
You know what? I don't even think those things are being addressed right now. I mean, I think the event was traumatic, and at this point, it's about him healing, watching him, observing him as the doctors instructed, and all that stuff. I think will come in the future, and we'll be glad to follow up with you on that.
Do they know
Okay.
when he might be able to go back?
Not sure yet. Yeah, monitoring. He needs a follow up. So thank you very much for coming. Oh, what's that?
How many stitches does he have?
I don't know. I think we can ascertain from the picture, but I could follow up with you. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Sure. Sure.
Wow, wow.
Thank you, guys. Be right back.
Thank you. It was interesting. Injuries not even in front. Right. Falling. Not just one thing.